Yeah, I could noodle around all day. Just
Is that like an original tune, or is that just something like you warm up on?
it's something I warm up on. It's like I'll do regular string exercises, which sound ridiculous. So like, oh, what is that? That sounds really bad. Stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
Just where you start string skipping and stuff like that. Either that, or I'll just start popping around and just flipping and stuff like this. I try to keep it interesting.
I remember, like when we met back in the day. I remember you were doing a lot of original bands too.
Yeah. I still like doing the original thing. So after
keyboards,
everything. I play keys. I started taking drum lessons when I was in 3rd grade, and I did that for about 2 years until eventually my mom got tired of the noise, and she took away my snare drum. So all I had were the sticks, So I would sit here and I'd play drums with nothing. I had the drumsticks in my hand and I started banging on them like this, and I would shake the entire house because I was doing double bass with my feet, but yet I had no drums. So I really locked in on the rhythm section of things because that's all I had. So when I was in, I just finished high school, and I was working at a gas station one night, and this guy came in who I ended up just started talking to. I'm a big fan of Rush. And Rush happened to be on the radio, and this guy Brent started talking to me, and ended up becoming really good friends with him. He played guitar, and so, well, fine, I sang. I didn't, but I said I could at the time. So we started getting together and jamming, and he's like, we're writing some stuff, and he's like, do you play guitar? I said, no, but I could fake bass. I had no idea what I was doing. So we went to George's, and I bought this ugly ass Fender Squier bass. The thing must have been this big. The action was this high, and it couldn't hold a tune for anything. But I started just beating on that. I had no idea what I was doing. I bought this book, Play Like, Van Halen.
Sometimes
so that
makes you better. Like you like I remember my first guitar too. The action was real high on it.
Oh yeah.
It makes it like more. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to play this chord.
Yeah.
I don't care if this guitar is going to limit me. You know what I mean, or whatever. And you just. You apply it yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I started playing on this thing, and my hand would hurt so bad afterwards because I'm pushing so hard down on these strings. But eventually, I got to where I could get by on my own. And then I saved up some money and I bought a real guitar, like a normal, like brand new bass. It wasn't anything really expensive. It wasn't like an old Ibanez or something. Right. But then I was flying up and down the fretboard, going, "Holy crap! This is what it's supposed to feel like." Not when you're having to press this hard.
Bass playing kind of came natural to you.
It did.
Locking into like a rhythm.
People say like, "Oh, why don't you play guitar?" And I said, "Well, I guess the reason is because I never had the desire to be a guitar player. Like, I can fake it on guitar. Like I know some real basic chords and I can noodle on guitar. I use it for when I'm writing originals, but more as a supporting instrument because that's all I can do. I decided to play bass just because I thought it was more expressive, at least for me. I used to say that like guitarists say the words. Bass is how you feel it. Yeah. And I don't know. I've always been
the groove.
Yeah, I can really feel the groove. That's what I lock in on. When I'm listening to something, that to me is passionate.
I was just listening to last night. Actually, I was listening to our Wharf show. And when we did Drive, I don't know if you remember, we used to kind of like do the long intro.
Oh yeah.
And I was listening to your bass playing on that, and I was like, wow, like you're just. And then the groove on that song, I mean, I've heard that song a million times, but the way you play it, the way you groove on it, it's kind of like brought this song into like a whole new light.
That's cool.
Thank you very much. It was really cool to listen to. I was listening to that last night. I was like, this is a cool, precursor to our interview.
Yeah.
So I did like a little research last night.
Oh, wow. Okay, good.
And I'm going to listen to some of his bass playing on this song. It was really cool to listen to that. And I was going to ask you, it's been 9 years.
Yeah, it has.
Since we got together.
Yeah.
And, what are your thoughts are on the past, and what do you remember from the past? And,
I remember a lot
now
from
doing
the past.
this.
It's funny. I was thinking about that the other day. I said when we first got together that first night, it was like a day hadn't passed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just we locked right in. Even with Nick, I mean, Nick jumped right in. It's like, dude, it's you think he was in the band for years, and everything was so tight. But then afterwards, I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what? I think one of the reasons we're so tight is because, I mean, me personally, I'd like to think I'm a better musician now. I'm older. I've had a lot more experience. I've played a lot more, and I like to think that that's coming out in my playing. You know, and before I was all about just winging it. You know, just playing the chord and. Well, when I jammed with you guys, I learned 40 songs in 3 days. I didn't learn them right. You know, I just learned the root notes.
Do you remember our first practice, like where it was?
It was in Matt's basement. I remember.
Matt's basement.
It was in Matt's basement. And I even knew the guy who auditioned that night before me. Because
I remember that.
Because he ended up he ended up joining the band that I quit to join the Bandcampers. Yeah, it was in Matt's basement. And I remember that because I had my little Zoom pedal with me, and we were all set up down there. And the first song I think we played was The Cure.
Yeah.
You know, just because I had this little effect on it, and you were like, "Oh, he's got a little zoom, isn't that cool?" And then we just started playing. Just doing the riff. And now I'm trying to remember. Our first show was at Brandywine, was Picnic Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Capuano was playing with us that night. You know, I remember my first gig wasn't with Matt. Then we started doing a lot of the gigs down in Westchester and Gators and all that stuff. So I think I got tighter with the band as we went on.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and then, were we with Frank then?
Yeah, we were with FKE at the time. So I remember the first time I met Frank was at Brandywine Picnic Park. Long black hair, the sunglasses.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's rock and roll.
Yeah.
I mean. He's the epitome. When you think rock and roll, if you look in the dictionary, there's a picture of Frank.
There's a picture of Frank.
There's a picture of Frank. He probably still looks like that. You know, good for him. Yeah, I wish I could do that.
So, how do you feel about now? I was talking with Nick in his interview, and we posted the SoundCloud stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How quick before you heard that did you know? Like, would you hear it right away and you're like, or you're like, I don't know if I want to do this again, or...
I was into it right
Because,
away.
I mean, when I heard it, I was like, this sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and you're like me, like you know what I mean? You're like perfectionist when you come to like, the sound and everything sounding good and everything.
Yeah.
But that recording is, I think it was an audience recording, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it came out pretty good for what it was. It's... When we first started jamming, even in the first few months, I think we were still learning how to jam together, both using the equipment that we had, because everybody's putting together, okay, well, I've got this, and I've got this, and I've got this. Mm-hmm. And I think that particular recording, it really was able to highlight everybody. I don't know how it happened, but it was able to highlight everybody. And you could hear everything that's going on, and it sounds like we've been playing together for years, but it's like, no, we've only been together
I've
for
always,
2 months.
and I, again, like what Nick said, you're a good bass player, but you also, your vocals are very, they blend nice with Jake. I have my little spot, and then you're right on the top of his vocal, and it just seems like the three of our vocals fit good together.
Yeah, that's one thing that I was really excited about, just getting back to the band, because I always thought that the three of us sounded really good. And my voice works really well with Jake, at least I think so. Mm-hmm. Because I've been in other projects before where I like to think I'm a good singer. I could never be a lead singer. I don't have the vocal range, but I like harmonizing. It's like when I'm listening to a song, I hear the bass, but then I also just pick out harmonies. My wife yells at me because she can never listen to a song without me singing to it. And I think Jake's full rounded voice lends really well to me harmonizing with it.
Yeah.
And we're not walking on each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
Tonally, they're different. Like, I guess even in the different projects I've been in, we have two really strong singers, but if they sound either too much alike or just tonally, they don't work. It's like, I've heard two singers sound great together, and then you separate them and put them with two different people, even equally talented. It doesn't sound like a good mix. You know what I mean? Where I think with the Bandcampers, vocally, lends itself really well. I'm really excited about it.